It is time to talk everything Blue Fest and Blue Economy. Alongside of me, I've got the director of the Coastal Zone Management Unit, Dr. Leo Brewster. Dr. Brewster, how are you doing this morning?
I'm great, man. How are you keeping?
I am keeping fantastic. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's a blue day. It's lovely. Now, I can see that today you're not dressed for the office at all. How does it feel to be relaxing now? What's today? Tuesday? Wednesday? Relaxing on a Wednesday morning.
It's always good to relax by the beach, honestly. As you can see, Folkestone is ideal today. I mean, the shades of blue capture everything, right? And we like it when it's like that,
Oh, for sure.
you know? People miss out. So whenever I get to see it and experience it, I'm good to go.
I'm sure your team is right now in the office jealous
I think
of
so.
you. But how did you find yourself at the Coastal Zone Management Unit?
Uh, well, I've been there for a long time. I actually started to work there after I finished my master's in fisheries biology and management. So that was way back in 1989, right? So yeah, so I'm one of the Precambrian dinosaurs that still exist, right? But it's been a rewarding experience. It was something that came along. I entered there as like the marine biologist, and I worked my way up to become director. And it has just been enjoyable and beneficial for me all the way through.
Yeah, given how many years you've spent in the space, what does it mean to you now to be able to see something like Blue Fest happening?
Well, Brewfest, to me, it never really and truly took a genesis until we had the Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Blue Economy. And that was when former PS Sonia Foster, who recently passed, and the former climate change coordinator, Mr. Ricardo Ward with a K. He approached like myself and a few others that were working within the ministry. Najla King was working in maritime affairs, and we had some members at fisheries, etc., about conceptualizing how we could promote what the new Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Blue Economy was doing, right? And we had the blessing of PS Foster, and the whole idea really was to try to ensure that we could promote what was in essence a new subject matter for the country. And it started small, it worked really well. We've tried every year to retain the same sort of format because it's just really and truly to talk about what the Blue Economy section of the ministry has been doing over the last year.
All right, so for somebody who has absolutely no idea what that term Blue Economy means, can you just quickly describe that?
Okay, so not getting technical, the Blue Economy is everything that relates to the ocean, seas, and ports that is on, in, and under the water. Anything that can potentially generate revenue, right, is part of the Blue Economy structure. So that includes things like coastal tourism, obviously things like water sports, diving, coastal catamarans and coastal cruising, ships, ports, shipping, marine research, marine construction. Things that would then also relate to deep sea investigation and research, offshore oil and gas, things like marine renewable energy, all new areas that we haven't got into that are existing as well. Obviously, fisheries is big up in there, right? And that is also the three aspects of fisheries. So you got artisanal fishery, which is like local small scale fishery for the near shore. And then you have the commercial fishery, which is like when the fellas go out doing the tuna fishing and long lining and that sort of stuff. And then you can have deep demersal fishery, which is where some of the fishermen go out and they try to catch the deep water snappers and jacks and amberjacks and those sort of things, right? And then obviously you have the industrial fishery, which is, we don't have it, but like in Europe, you have the people that have the big trawlers and the motherships that can actually process fish while on board. So as soon as it's caught, it's blast frozen and then it's processed, right? So you have all those aspects, some of which are potentially new areas of opportunity for us, right? But it also looks at how you can conserve the marine space. It also looks at how you can protect the marine space. So just because you're looking to try to do stuff in the ocean, it doesn't necessarily mean that, it's been a free-for-all for a long time. But if you can identify new areas of opportunity to generate revenue, it also provides a new avenue for you to expand employment. Make sure that all persons who are within the space have opportunity for livelihood enhancement, all that sort of stuff. So, that's breaking it down to its basic minimum. Anything that's in, on, or under the sea that can generate revenue is part of the blue economy.
In, on, or under the sea that can generate revenue. You say like mass for dummies, and I feel like this blue economy for dummies, like that honestly, I've got it now. On the back of that, then, in terms of what you mentioned, blue economy, then what can we expect then from Blue Fest?
Okay, well, like I said, Blue Fest this year, we're going to get into that later on, I suppose. But for right now, we normally try to present a webinar series every year, whereby we talk about what has been going on for the last year in terms of some of the work or research that we've been doing. In the past, we've had a regional and international discussion on the blue economy, where we had people from IOC UNESCO, IOCARIB, which is a subdivision of IOC UNESCO, and other stakeholders that work in the blue space, including local participants like Professor Robin Mahon and one or two others. We've also tried to do the live webinar discussions, whereby we open the forum to let people call in and talk to us about same thing, explaining the blue economy, what the ministry has been really doing, why they aren't working in certain areas yet, etc. People think that you can just jump into blue economy as a easy, snap your fingers sort of thing. But it has to be worked up, because right now the perception for blue economy is still fisheries, the port, shipping, and two others I always forget. But fish markets, obviously, and then other things like marine conservation and marine recreation and coastal tourism, right? But like I said, there are other areas in there that we now have to really and truly start to explore some more. We've been very fortunate this year that we were able to work with the Marine Institute of Ireland and start a significant marine research program for our exclusive economic zone, which extends out 200 nautical miles, right? 200 nautical miles, not 200 miles, 200 nautical miles, which is really, really far offshore, into the deep, right? To start looking to see what our sea floor in the deep looks like. And we're hoping to have them come down and do a public presentation on some of the preliminary findings. So that should be a really good, I would hope, a really good drawer for persons of interest who have who want to understand what's out there, right? We're also looking at other things, obviously, to speak to what's going on in fisheries. We also have our regular movie night. Every Blue Fest, we have a movie night, which is a free movie night at the drive-in, right? And it's really and truly one ticket per carload. So if it's one person or 5 people or a truckload, you can get in. The tickets will be available from the Coastal Zone Management Unit and Fisheries Division. There'll be a couple that we'll also send out to some key people that we always try to invite. This year we're trying to show David Attenborough's The Ocean, right? That came out earlier this year, and at 99, David Attenborough is still hitting hard, right? And if you don't know David Attenborough by now, he is the institution next to National Geographic, right? For the BBC series, etc. So it is an actual phenomenal documentary, and we're also going to be featuring some other small fisheries activity movies that they've been working on, to demonstrate that we too have activities going on within our fishing communities, etc., that have been really and truly been worked on in-house by the Fisheries Division, and that sort of stuff. So it's very compact, and then I think the Friday we're going to have a line down in Pelican Village. So, it's going to be a wonderful week of events to thing. Obviously, during the day it's difficult to coordinate things, but on the Friday as well, if I remember correctly, we're also trying to have a field event activity for primary school children and secondary school children. We've already targeted the schools, right? And we're going to try to take them out to a couple scenic places to talk a bit more about stuff that relates to the fishing sector, and also stuff that relates to coastal zone management and the concerns that you must have as young persons growing up in a small island.
You talk about concerns within a small island. What would you want Barbadians to understand as it pertains to their role in the blue economy or the blue space?
I think every Bajan gotta recognize that, the reality for us is that we, like most small islands, are seriously threatened by climate change. Okay? The view that God is a Bajan is something that everybody stands by, but at the same time, the climate is impacting us. It doesn't only have to be as it relates to sea level rise or increased storminess in waves, etc. We're seeing it all now in terms of limited water replenishment, in terms of rainfall for aquifers, and therefore that has implications for the average person's ability to access drinking water. You also have to look at things that would then also speak to the agricultural and farming sector who have livestock issues, especially when we have these high heat levels. And if you check the Met Service website, you will see that there is evidence of like hot days are slowly creeping up above normal, right? And these sort of things are things that people may not be considering right now, but at the same time, when you're in it, you know it and you experience it. So I think everyone has to be recognized and truthful in the fact that even though we may not be hit like how some of the other islands, even within our region, may be hit every 2 years by a hurricane or those sorts of things, we do bear considerable burden in terms of trying to aid them when it's necessary. But also, as we saw with Beryl last year, we are not averse to being impacted. And despite the fact that Beryl passed to the south of us, there was significant damage on the west coast, right? Which is something that doesn't normally happen when a storm passes to the south of the island. You would normally expect the south coast beaches to be ripped up and stuff. But even though they were slightly damaged, they were not as heavily impacted as the west coast. What we do recognize now is from our repeated monitoring up to our last recently concluded profiling events, the beaches have returned to normal, right? Along the west coast especially, which we thought we were going to expect to take about 2 to 3 years, they're back to normal now. And that is a really good sign that through natural recovery, right, the sand will and does come back. You just got to be patient. But as you say, when the storm hits, immediate action is required.
A final question for you in terms of Bluefest. What are some of the takeaways that you want persons to leave with from this year's Bluefest?
That is, how should I put it? It is something that I think that we all have to look at. We all have to start taking a refocused look at how the blue space can be more effectively programmed, right? What I want to recognize is the excellent work that Fisheries is doing. They've had some really good young interns this year who are going to be presenting their findings in the public webinar. And it's going to show you that we got young people, right, that have just recently graduated, who, when given the opportunity, can perform. They are eager to be involved within the blue space. There's a lot of other activities that are taking place, as I said, with like the deep sea work that we're now getting into. We can't map the EEZ in 1 year, so it's going to take about 5 years for us to map the total space. And as part of that, new research opportunities will come about, right? It must be recognized that, once you do your data collection, it got to be processed. And data may not be easily made public, but some sections of the data over time may be made public based at the discretion, obviously, of the government, right? But there are new areas of research that can be generated in terms of aspects of marine construction. New opportunities will be definitely coming that way in terms of even the opportunities for trying different approaches for construction using more greener materials to assist with concrete building, etc. Should they exist, so you can actually remove the use of steel and use different approaches for that process. So the playing field is really open. I'm really looking forward to the day when we can see marine renewable energy start to be applied in Barbados. right? And I'm hoping that through this sort of approach that we're taking, we can promote these different sort of activities and let people be aware that it's more than just fisheries, coastal tourism, ports and shipping, and fish markets.
Well, I know I said last question, but I'll put you on the spot for this one. Scale of 1 to 10. How much are you looking forward to Blue Fest?
10.
All right, that had to be the only answer possible and probable. Guys, looking forward to it. Don't forget the dates will come up on screen and all the activities as well. And all that's left to say is see you at Blue Fest.
Yeah.